Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a 16th century political warning and translating it into a highly actionable corporate strategy for strategic independence. We're diving right back into the brilliant and, let's face it, often misunderstood mind of Niccolo Machiavelli, drawing specifically from chapter 13 of his legendary text, The Prince. We are going to unpack a concept we're calling Infographic 13, the Outsourcing Anchor. Now, you might be wondering, what on earth does a Renaissance political treatise have to do with my modern startup? Well, as we're about to see, the strategies for defending a literal kingdom are shockingly identical to the strategies for protecting your company's core intellectual property. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be covering Section 1, the danger of auxiliaries, Section 2, Louis XII's costly mistakes, 3, the power of self-reliance, 4, identifying hidden outsourcing risks, 5, evaluating your risk score with a diagnostic checklist, and finally, Section 6, the Strategic Independence Guide.
All right, diving into Section 1, the danger of auxiliaries. So we begin Chapter 13 with a concept that can literally make or break a modern startup, and that's the trap of relying on outside giants. Machiavelli had a very specific word for this setup, auxiliaries. He defines an auxiliary as calling in a much more powerful neighbor to help you defend your territory or, attack an enemy. The absolutely crucial point here is that relying on a massive external partner to come save you creates an inescapable platform dependency. Machiavelli was crystal clear on the math here. If your powerful neighbor loses the battle, well, you're ruined right alongside them. But paradoxically, if they win, you actually become their captive. You are now entirely at the mercy of the very giant that just helped you succeed.
And honestly, this perfectly illustrates the modern danger of what we call the outsourcing anchor. We have a playful pro tip for this. Winning with someone else's IP is like winning a race in a rental car. The owner still has the keys, and they are definitely going to charge you for the mileage. In the corporate world, this happens all the time when you rely entirely on a massive tech giant's platform or maybe a massive distributor just to reach your audience. Sure, the partnership might succeed wildly in the short term, but now they capture your data, your customers, and effectively your entire company. You don't own the road, and you sure don't own the car.
Moving on to Section 2, Louis XII's costly mistakes.
To see exactly how partner dependency goes horribly wrong, we have to look at the historical downfall of King Louis XII of France. Machiavelli profiles him as the ultimate cautionary tale of what not to do. Just look at this timeline. Notice how Louis sequentially handed over his own leverage to massive, powerful neighbors, basically guaranteeing his own ruin. In Phase 1, he wanted a foothold in Italy, so he brought the Venetians into Lombardy. Then, as if he literally hadn't learned his lesson, in Phase 2 he assisted Pope Alexander in occupying the Romagna, giving massive temporal power to the church. And finally, Phase 3, he divided Naples with the King of Spain, introducing a wildly powerful foreign power into a territory he could have easily controlled himself. At every single step, he relied on an auxiliary. He strengthened someone else while totally weakening his own position. So Louis essentially failed on two fronts here, purely because he invited foreign forces in instead of building up his own internal capabilities. First, if we reference Chapter 3 on mixed principalities, bringing in a powerful foreigner makes the local subject states rally to that foreigner. You do all the heavy lifting, but the partner gets all the loyalty. Second, drawing from Chapter 13 on auxiliaries, winning with the arms of others leaves you at their total mercy. Louis was a serial outsourcer, and it cost him Italy. Which brings us to Section 3, the power of self-reliance. Now, success without relying on these corporate giants is absolutely possible. Machiavelli gives us a perfect counterexample to Louis to show us what true strategic independence actually looks like. Enter Hero the Syracusan. Hero represents the ultimate strategic pivot. While Louis chose external reliance, Hero took the painful but totally necessary path of internal reform. When Hero became Prince of Syracuse, he took one look at his mercenary soldiers and realized they were useless. He couldn't safely keep them, and he couldn't safely let them go. So he literally had them cut to pieces. He abolished the old soldiery and built his own forces entirely from the ground up. He chose absolute self-reliance. And this quote right here proves exactly why founders must prioritize internal capability over the seductive, easy path of using a tech giant's massive distribution network. A wise prince always prefers to lose with his own forces than win with the arms of others. Machiavelli is arguing that a victory won with someone else's tools isn't a real victory at all. Think about it. If you built it yourself, even if you fail, you retain the knowledge, the infrastructure, and the capacity to try again. But if you win with an auxiliary, You're just sitting there waiting for the day they decide to change their terms of service. Let's look at Section 4, Identifying Hidden Outsourcing Risks.
So, taking all this historical context, how do we spot the modern equivalents of the King of Spain or the Venetians in our own business operations today? You really need to take a moment and ask yourself, are you relying on modern corporate auxiliaries? Are you truly the prince of your startup, or are you secretly beholden to an outsourced anchor? Like, are you actually generating revenue, or is a massive third-party marketplace generating revenue that they simply pass along to you, at least for now? Let's walk through a quick step-by-step tutorial to help you spot these hidden risks in your outsourcing arrangements, hopefully before the rental car owner demands their keys back. Step 1. Map all your dependencies on tech giants. Where does your tech stack actually live? Step 2. Identify where customer data is captured. Look, if your partner holds the email addresses, they own the customer. Step 3. Evaluate the absolute limits of your strategic independence. What really happens to your business if that partner just shuts you off tomorrow? And step 4, draft an internal capability expansion plan. Just like Hero the Syracusan, you need a plan to slowly phase out those mercenaries and start building your own internal strength. Next up, Section 5, Diagnostic Checklist and Risk Score.
To make this incredibly actionable for you, let's quantify exactly how much danger your business might be in right now. You can use this quick checklist to evaluate if your massive distributor is actually an auxiliary just waiting to capture your company. Ask yourself, are you hoping a larger partner's distribution network will save your struggling product? If so, you're calling it an auxiliary. Is your core intellectual property effectively rented, meaning it only really functions on top of someone else's proprietary system? That's a huge red flag. And remember Machiavelli's core warning. If that massive partner fails, would you be ruined too? We can actually plot this on our risk scoring model, turning Chapter 13's warnings into a rigorous rubric for any future corporate partnership. Take a look at the data row here, for instance. If your data is proprietary and tightly controlled by you, you're in the low-risk, self-reliant category. But if your user behavior, your analytics, and transaction histories are being captured by a tech giant, well, you're exhibiting major high-risk traits. You are winning with the arms of others, and you are highly, highly vulnerable. 1. That is the exact number of critical platform dependencies it takes for you to lose total control of your own company's destiny. Literally just 1. Louis XII made a whole series of errors, sure, but it only took one fatal partnership to bring an auxiliary inside his walls. You don't need to outsource everything to be in danger. Outsourcing just one single, core, non-negotiable pillar of your business is more than enough to completely compromise your strategic independence. Finally, Section 6, the Strategic Independence Guide. Let's boil all of this Machiavellian wisdom down into a definitive 4-pillar guide for corporate decision-makers. These are basically the modern equivalent of abolishing the old soldiery and ensuring you win with your own forces. First, build internal capabilities first, even when it is painfully slower. Second, flat out refuse partnerships that capture your user data. That data is your territory. Guard it. Third, remember Machiavelli's warning that auxiliaries are actually far more dangerous than mercenaries, simply because auxiliaries come united and obedient to a foreign master. And fourth, never, ever let an external giant become your sole distributor. Always maintain your own direct lines to your market. So I'm going to leave you with this one provocative question to seriously consider before you sign your next big vendor agreement. Will your next big partnership make you an independent market leader or just a captive of a corporate auxiliary? Remember, winning a race in a rental car just means the owner still holds the keys. I really hope this explainer has empowered you to rethink your own strategic independence, build up your own internal forces, and fiercely protect your corporate principality. Thanks for joining me.